What's up, trash talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
Here is a firm believer in all men are created equal, but not all men live equal. That is why there's a certain select number of people in the DoD who decided to jump out of airplanes. And yes, we are better than you. 100%. Now, don't be the first triggered pansy to say, well, airborne's not relevant. You haven't jumped since World War II. Well, that's not accurate, for one. And two, it's like having a jalopy or a 68 Mustang. Well, a 68 Mustang's no longer relevant. Doesn't matter. It's still a better car than yours. So take it easy this National Airborne Day and just accept that we are better than you.
So, two things for today's Honesty Cap. First thing, how do all my boys from the 101st feel knowing that the Army decided that instead of actually making you airborne, they would just create a whole new division that's airborne because you just aren't cutting it? It sucks. Thing number two, for all the folks who were like, oh, airborne is irrelevant, doesn't even matter. They're making a whole new division of just airborne people because they're relevant. Think about that. How's that feel? Does it hurt a little bit? I hope it hurts a little bit.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
What's up, Gruntworks Nation? What is up, VTT? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 11 of the Trash Talk Hour. Special guest today is Marine Corps veteran Johnny Perez, CEO of Veterans Resource Advocates. And today I'm joined by VTT's mental health warrior and the Big Earl. Happy Saturday. What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
Just being better than everybody else again.
Usual, huh? Just the usual thing, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday to Buddy's mom. Yeah.
It's a hard life.
Happy birthday
man.
to Buddy's mom. Happy birthday to Buddy's mom. That's why he's not.
Yeah, I said happy birthday to her last night, but we don't want to talk about that.
Don't want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's not appropriate for a live. You know what I mean? So, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, my mom, Buddy's mom, all of our moms, huh, Nick?
I mean, when you're the Big Earl.
It's just one of those things, huh?
It's one of those things, you know. You don't get mad. You don't hate the player. Right?
Yeah. Cliff, it's good to have you here, man. Tuning in from
Awesome,
Italy.
man.
What time is it over there right now?
It is 11:30 at night.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Put in the late hours for us.
Yeah, and I just got off work. Well, I got off work. I left work early to come on the show, or I'd be at work till 2:00 in the morning because we close at midnight, and we have to clean up for about 2 hours. So,
And then you drink wine for another 2 hours afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the cook Lalo will cook a traditional Neapolitan meal, and we'll sit together as a family and we'll eat after everything's clean, and then we'll go home after that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, very
I
cool.
mean, some good stuff. I'm learning some good stuff. I'm learning all the base sauces for Italian cooking. I'm getting it all down.
He said he's going to teach you to make a good carbonara. So when you're back in, when you come back to Virginia or wherever, I'll have to come over. I want to see if you can make a good carbonara.
Yeah, I learned the key to Italian
That's
cooking. is
really a
just this.
northern dish. We'll see. We'll see.
Hey, what does it mean when you do it with both hands? Both hands.
Yeah.
Both hands.
I think that's an insult. I think that's
Okay. Yeah, I think that means you're gonna take. I think it means you're
Right.
gonna take
They
somebody
say
down.
why? They say they
I
always
have
tell me
a-
why Italians talk with their hands. It's to keep the
I
flies
have
away.
a
That's
book.
what my
I
mom
kid
used
you
to tell my
not.
dad.
I have a book. I should go grab it. It's this thick, and it's all nothing but Neapolitan hand gestures. And
Wow.
it's a little
Really?
bitty book, and it goes through all the hand gestures and what they mean. It's crazy.
Yeah, my dad does
You
it
know,
too.
like,
He always does
like
this one.
this
He's
is
always
good
like, "Come
looking.
on."
This is good food. This is hey, watch.
We all know what this is.
you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
An Illuminati.
Awesome.
This is the one
Yeah.
they use the most, where they're standing there talking and they got the hands by their waist and they're doing this. Come on.
Well,
But
that's
it's
why you
that-
gotta have that big pasta belly. You gotta have that big pasta belly. You can sit there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sit like that. Yeah. I'll get there one day. I'm trying.
Can try it.
You won't get, I tell you, you won't get fat eating Italian pasta. You'll actually lose weight.
True. Yeah, because it's not all full of shit.
I'm down to
yeah.
size 30 jeans from 34 since I came to Italy.
Holy smokes.
I gave up cardio for Lent in 2017 and I've been rock and rolling ever since, bro. Like you gotta stay
Well,
committed.
Cliff, you also got that healthy olive oil over there, So like everything with oil, so you're good, man. They say they live longer over there anyway.
Well, they
Yeah.
probably would, but they,
Well, that's why they had to let COVID kill all the old people because they were living too damn long. It's like
Well, you know,
we're
we
a
have
third world country. Let's axe off 30,000 people real quick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one way
There
to
you go.
that's one way to do
There
it.
goes our show for YouTube. Yep.
Is that a conspiracy? I mean, yeah.
Okay,
We
well,
do have a
just got-
conspiracy. That's a good segue into the conspiracy. This is a fun one. We have a lot going on in the world right now. I mean,
Yeah, a whole bunch of shit going
obviously the
on.
whole Puff Daddy thing, P. Diddy. I think we just need to do a whole segment on that because there's so much to cover. The Miami Mall incident that we talked about with the aliens, it's all back now. Like there's supposed to be people missing who like spoke about it. We're gonna expose pictures. So maybe Buddy was right because I didn't believe in that conspiracy. Something trashed in DC, Nick, when you guys were up there for USAA. Yeah, it's all over. So there's a lot. So I just went on TikTok and said, give me something else. So go ahead and play the video. This is talking about large spiders in Antarctica.
Before
Ooh,
I play it, we got Brent Rogers saying 3 more years until China says they're ready for invasion of Taiwan. All right, Brent, I want to know where you came up with that number. All right, 3 years? Like,
Yeah, bring him on.
Well, they have to work on that disease they're going to send over to make them all sick and then do the invasion.
yeah, you remember that. Remember, we're allies with China.
Kind of like the Chinese guy that caught down Louisiana that had the rare strain of TB that they hadn't seen.
Oh, hey, way to go, Brent. Now you got Cliff going about China. All right, so hey, you're a lot closer to China than we are. You better be careful. So let's see here. I got to play a video for you. Okay, Dave, full video. Let's do it.
Were monsters released in Antarctica? On February 13th, 2021, this image appeared on a Google Earth thread, and shortly after, a user named Son of Antonon responded with a wild story about what the thing in this picture was. His father was a doctor stationed at McMurdo Base in the 90s, and while there, he went on expeditions to different outposts and learned of these restricted zones they had to avoid. Something weird was going on, however, things took a dark turn. Being the only doctor at the base, he had to do pathology for personnel who died, and an alarming amount looked like they were attacked by something. The thing is, he was under orders to say they died of hypothermia. One injured researcher told him they found these prehistoric creatures frozen in the ice, and they managed to reanimate them, and then the creatures attacked the team and escaped. He called these cryptid apex predators striders. They were spider-like, the size of a greyhound dog, and had 5 spindly legs and lived in these no-go zones. Now, there's more to the story, so let me know if you want to hear a part 2. Apex predators in Antarctica, part 2. His dad tries to stop them, but one of the guards points his weapon at him and escorts him out of the room. It soon became clear that he was going to be discharged from the base, so he worked on collecting as many stories as he could from the people there. The strangest of which were that these strider creatures could grow massive and would only come out to roam at night or during a storm. Now, beyond being a medical doctor, Antonon's dad also held a degree in psychology. During his time at McMurdo, he had come to know one of the soldiers stationed there, a Green Beret that he named Jones, and he would counsel him in secret. On his final day at the base, Jones busts into his room at 2 a.m. after coming back from a mission out on the ice. He tells Jones that it's too early and he needs to leave now. Instead, Jones puts a leg from a strider right on his chest and begins to tell him what's really going on down there. Now, make sure to like and follow for part 3.
So, all right. So after I saw this on TikTok, I Googled it a little bit more because I really wanted to find out who this doctor is, right? Didn't find too much information on him. However, I found more articles in regards to these large spiders that are supposedly attacking people in Antarctica. Now, we know in Antarctica, we've covered this on the show already. There are certain locations that, not many people are allowed to go to. And I do personally believe that there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in Antarctica that we do not know about. However, I'm not buying into the spider thing because, like, even that picture, why does it always have to be blurry, right?
Yeah.
Like, why? I mean, it's a Google Earth image, right? Like, it looks like a dude like wearing a backpack that's like kneeling down. So I do not buy the spider story. I think it's just somebody who came up with something, do it on the net, and then people started rolling with it and making videos. Johnny, what's your take? Is this real or a bunch of bullshit?
I'll be honest with you, man. We've seen some crazy things in the world. Anything with spiders, who knows what kind of prehistoric stuff that's out there that's real and fake. Yeah, I guess don't knock it until you see it. We can say it's false all day long or true all day long until we actually get our hands on it and see it. But anything with spiders, dude, listen, I'm just gonna pretend like it's not because I think make me feel more comfortable. But I mean, we've all experienced the camel spiders. I mean, there's some decent sized spiders out there. So if they can get that big, who knows how much bigger they can be. So I mean, I don't know, but it's probably not as realistic as we want it to be. So I'd say it's kind of BS, man, a little bit.
Yeah, and when I Googled it briefly too, there was like a really big explanation on insects on why they actually cannot grow in size like that because of the way they breathe and like the oxygen in the air would have to be a certain way because of their exoskeleton and stuff. So yeah, I don't buy that. Now, are there animals out there? I mean, we find new insects every day, right? And all kinds of stuff in the jungle, but yeah, I'm not buying it, dude. All right, Johnny, good take. Cliff, real or not? By the way, it says retarded. All right. What's up, Oates?
Yeah, I'm not buying.
Actually, he said restarted.
Restarted. Yeah,
What?
restarted the first time.
But then he was typing like a Navy dude, and then so there you go. Come on, Seaman, type.
Yeah, no, I'll have to go with that. I don't believe the big spiders. I think there is some crazy stuff going on in Antarctica that we don't know about.
100%.
And I think there could be a lost city there or some lost civilization that they're hiding from us from knowing. And maybe they just bring up the spider theory. People who have arachnophobia are scared to go to Antarctica. I have no idea. But I don't buy that at all because, spiders, when it gets certain temperature, there are certain breeds of spiders that will go dormant or, they'll freeze and frost.
How the fuck would they survive in that
climate,
right? Yeah.
And what are they going to eat? They have to eat something. And if you're that big, what are you going to eat?
Well, they're eating people, apparently.
Yeah.
They're eating these,
polar bears, people, I don't know. Seals, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm not buying
penguins. They eat penguins. Yeah. Everybody knows this. So,
well, over to you, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. There's no logic here. All right, who is this guy? Is he like the estranged son of the dude that does the paintings with the perm? Like,
oh yeah.
You know me. I always go after the source. Now, what's that guy's name who did the painting?
Bob Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross wasn't he a Marine?
He was something in the service.
He used to drop bodies in Vietnam before he started painting shit.
Yeah,
right.
He was a Marine.
Yeah, like something like that. He served somewhere, and now did he? I mean, who knows? He might have been getting around the Hoochie Mamavilles, and that might be one of his estranged things.
Yeah, I think he was in the Air Force.
Was the Air Force too?
Oh. Yeah, Master Sergeant in the Air Force. Quick little Google.
Dropping bombs. Yeah,
dropping bombs. Yeah. He's not out there pew-pewing. Yeah.
But what I want to know is I'm going to go back at you guys and be like, how do you know there's things that we don't know in Antarctica? Both two of you said it. Dave and Cliff said it. How do you know there's things that you don't know in Antarctica?
I mean, that's a great question, right? I would just base it off of all the information that comes from there. Like the Antarctic Treaty is really weird how it's like owned by multiple countries in the world.
Well, it's like China in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
And then there are people who've wanted to, like, there's tons of videos on it. There are people who wanted to explore that area and they're just not allowed to. The word has it is that we have like a lab there, right? Where we grow like all kinds of seeds and stuff or plants in case like something happens to the world. But then there's like Admiral Byrd's story, right? With the Navy when they went to Antarctica. The Nazis were super interested in Antarctica. There's supposedly a pyramid out there. Like, there's a lot of crazy stuff in regards to Antarctica. And some of these people who are asking for answers aren't getting them or aren't allowed to go to like certain locations in Antarctica. So that makes me believe, like, if you're not allowed to go there, like,
Why?
probably something going on, right? Otherwise, it would just be like, yeah, go travel at your own risk,
Yeah, it is kind of odd that they,
And that's readily available on the internet and stuff. So I've always been very fascinated with Antarctica.
on the internet's true. So.
But of course, Nick, you're absolutely right. Nick. How can we know? How can we know? Like, we can't.
I just like how there's 2 out of the 4 of us here said they're certain that there's something that they don't know about. How can you be certain that there's something you don't know about?
No, I think they know about it. I think they're hiding it from the people. I think they're hiding it from the population. I think
so you're certain that there is something down there that we don't know about because it's not been released.
Oh, I wish I could remember the name of the series.
Absolutely.
On Netflix.
Okay, that makes more sense. But that goes into my take on it.
Yeah.
All right. Again, Hollywood runs everything. All right. They control everything. They control what we think, what we like, how we dress.
That's true. That is true.
Right. They got. Oh, they do. They do. They feed because they control that. They control your conspiracy. Right. And how do they do that?
They do control narratives. Absolutely.
They put a little bit of truth into their movies, like Starship Troopers, right? Because that's obviously where they got this idea from. These arachnids,
100%
from the arachnid zone.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right. So that movie is probably based on a little bit of truth, but because they put it out there, now it's bullshit.
Well,
right?
I mean,
once you put it out there that it exists, then in a movie, then everybody's like, that's just Hollywood. It's like, no, man. The arachnids are down there. So I 100% think that this is legit. Like there are arachnids down there. And that's why, Cliff, you're not allowed to go down there. Because unless you're going down there like freaking like Rico, right? Like Rico's Roughnecks. All right, you ain't. These ain't the aliens in Peru that Buddy says he could beat up, right? The ones that
was a really good conspiracy too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think a lot of the movies too, they like desensitize to any of this. Like when there's all this like UFO and UAP talk that's been going on the last 3 years. Like Nick has known me for over fucking 15 years. Like I used to talk about that shit all the time. Back then, people would be like, "You're fucking crazy." Now it's just like everywhere. The news is talking about it, but nobody's like, everybody's just like, whatever,
And again, like that's exactly right. Like the government's like, "Hey, UFOs are real." Like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
People are like, why is this not the biggest story in history? But people are just like desensitized, and that might be through like the movies. And
hey, speaking of which, did you guys watch the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump?
I watched 3/4 of it.
There was a segment where they talked about Joe Rogan asked him about the aliens and whether or not.
I know he would. I didn't see that part.
Man. Dude, that put a whole.
So go back and
your
watch
study,
it.
David, put a whole new perspective. I'm like, holy smokes, he's not denying the fact that there's outside life, man. It's
nobody is. They're not at all.
It's crazy.
We're a rock whirling through space.
UAPs.
In the vast nothingness, and to think that we're the only ones that would form life is narrow-minded. I think.
Look, Cliff, there's a lot of crazy theories.
It's the same dumb mindset. Yeah, it's the same dumb mindset of like people back. We've talked about this on the show before. It's the same stupid mindset of like, there's no way a civilization 1,000 years ago could have had smart people in it. It's
Well, have you guys watched the Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix?
I have not.
I haven't seen that one.
You need to watch it. It'll blow your mind. And how this guy's an investigative reporter. He's not an archaeologist. And he goes through different parts of the world with the pyramids that were built all at the same time, all over the world. And he brought up places that I'd never even knew exist. There's a huge snake in Ohio.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one.
And I hadn't heard about that. And then there's the biggest pyramid is down in Mexico that was built, and it's massive. And he talks about the Amazon, and one of the things he talks about, which is interesting, he says, how can we assume that we're so technology advanced that somebody in the world wouldn't be less advanced, right? Even today, people live in the cities, but there's still tribes in Amazon who's never had electricity, who has their own language.
100%.
And who's to
100%.
who's to say that the advanced civilizations collapsed, and it was the people living out in the woods or living out by themselves who survived?
No, that I believe
You
that
know,
theory 100. I think that theory is great that there was an advanced civilization back there, and then there was just a huge reset on Earth and
yeah.
like everything. Because everybody's like, we built the pyramids. I think we're to a point now where, like, if you really look at it, like, there's like engineers that come out and are like, this is not possible. Like with the tools that they had back then.
Oh, and the
But if it was
cuts
an
that
ancient
they make.
civilization, right? If it was an ancient civilization that did it, and because like the biggest thing is like, why are all these people building pyramids on all different parts of the world and they don't even know each other? Like they like
Okay, well,
to
so
our knowledge, we weren't communicating with each other. But if it was an
right,
ancient civilization,
right.
it could be, you know. So
Again,
yeah,
it's just like
Great theory.
it's just like how revisionist historians are ruining America right now, where they just try to make up history how they think it is. So, like I said, one of the most dangerous things is to look at history through current lenses, right? Like looking
Yeah.
at why something happened 1,000 years ago through our lenses now doesn't do any good. You got no
Correct.
idea what they were like. Maybe you do, and that's what
Yep.
history is. Like, why were they thinking that way? Why were they doing this? I don't know. Maybe like again, there's still roads in Rome that are perfect. While there's a new pothole on my street every freaking 5 weeks.
I was
Like,
in Rome.
know,
I was in Rome. I was in Rome 2 days ago, and
yes,
me
you
and
were.
my
That's why I
brother-
brought it up.
Right, and we're walking around and we're looking, right? And if you get past, I've been to Rome 3 times, so I'm looking at other shit by now, right? And to look at how straight these lines are with these massive marble stones, and then you look at what Caesar built in his house and how they're starting to uncover that, and then the facades and the marble, and then you look at the Colosseum and then how it's transferred. But then you go to what's the dome? I just drew a blank. It's
The
the
Sistine
Palatine.
Chapel.
No, the Palatine or whatever it was. It's been there since I don't know what, the 3rd century, and it's still standing, freestanding dome, the largest freestanding. Who thinks of that? And when you walk in there and you look up at that ceiling and you see those cuts exactly perfect,
It's insane.
that's skill. That's not somebody using a rock and a hammer. It ain't gonna happen to make him that way and to fit the way they make him fit. It's amazing. But
sure,
it's
yeah.
and then like we were down in Pastrum, where the Greek, because Greeks inhabited Italy first before the Romans, and so about 70 miles south of here, that you had the Greek ruins, and you go in and you look how they built those. They're still standing today. It's amazing. And then, of course, you guys heard the studies about the Colosseum, where they studied the concrete. It's self-healing. It's still healing itself to this day. And that's why it's still standing. And you tell me we can't figure that crap out? Come on.
Hey, listen. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
in Arizona, all the new build homes are falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Raiders can't win a freaking football game. What's happening over here?
Nope. I mean, the Raiders haven't won a game since John Madden was. Well, yeah, Gruden. Yeah, Gruden.
Oh, it's tough.
about
It's
the
tough.
Nazca lines, Christopher Boats,
South
Shoshana. What about the
America.
Nazca line? Yeah, in South America. I don't know, Boats.
What about them, Boats? Tell
There
us.
you go.
We don't know. Shit.
I
Tell
put
us.
the Ancient out there on Ancient Apocalypse. I don't know if I
Ancient
spelled that
Apocalypse on Netflix. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Well, good take. Yeah, good. Yeah, we could talk about pyramids and all that stuff. I could talk about that for hours.
100% real.
100%
Pyramids
real.
are real.
Okay.
100%.
It'll
I
blow
like
your
it.
mind. You were like,
Yeah. I mean,
oh, look. Hey, look. I'm going to bring this up real quick, but I went and got, this is the Italian book.
What's your
of
turn
all-
anyway, Cliff? Go
This-
ahead.
This is all
Yeah, click.
Italian gestures. This
Oh,
whole
you're not
book
kidding. That's a real
is
thing.
gestures
Come,
in Italy.
what does it say? Come what?
oh, stop. You don't know what it says.
My
can't see.
green screen. It says como el agia dicere. I'll spell it out. I'll spell it out in the
Oh,
chat.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not pronouncing it right.
Sarah is evening.
Dicere.
Yeah.
Dicere.
Dicere.
D-I-C.
Ah,
Yeah.
Dicera. How to
To
say.
share that. Yeah.
How to
share
say.
that.
Yes. How to say. Correct.
Yeah, how to say, yeah.
Anyway.
So
Come on, man. Of course, I got this. Cliff, are you gonna give us a little mental health message, brother?
Hey,
Before we get to the
You know
guest?
what? I've been talking about it all week. It's buddy check week, and it's important to reach out to everybody. Here's something people forget a lot. If you're not in a good way, right, mentally, and things just aren't happening, or things aren't going your way, or shit's just going on, right? When season changes and you see a change and you're not able to make the change yourself, it becomes very depressing for that person. And that's why I think it's important when we go through seasonal changes, and we're getting ready to go through the time change also here before too long, that it's important just to follow up and ask people, because it does switch in some people, thoughts of depression, and things become more intensified. So let's just take a second and, call that buddy, call that friend, and see how they're doing. And I'm going to caveat that with is, hey, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how old you are, you can reinvent yourself. You can go out and learn and do new things. Just as the same as I've been in Italy for less than a year, and I'm doing something they said was impossible, and that's working in an Italian restaurant as an American, where it's illegal, but I volunteer.
Welcome to socialism.
I'm volunteering.
Fucking job there.
But to learn to cook and see the Italian culture is so important. And if you watch my podcast on Thursday, I did it live from China. Because when Americans come to Italy, and I'm going to go on a little tangent here, but when they come, this is important to know.
It's your you can go on whatever tangent you want.
I know. And Dave, you know this because but when Americans come to Italy and they sit down to eat, they don't realize that waiter's not going to hound you. He's not going to come around unless you motion for him. They're not going to do that. They don't do that here because I know, right? Because they want you to sit down, enjoy your food, and enjoy the company that you're with, and they're not going to harass you about it. And so, for a lot of Americans, they get frustrated because, like, why aren't they bringing me water, or why aren't they bringing me the check, or what? And they're like, relax, what's your hurry? Because what you don't realize is that when you sit down inside of a restaurant, you are paying for that table. Whether you sit there for 30 minutes or 6 hours, they don't care.
I was about to say, it's a whole experience. You don't just eat, get up so the next person can sit down. It's a whole experience.
That's why you have the antipasta, and then you have you have your appetizer, then your first, which is pasta, then your second, which is protein, and then your dessert. And then enjoy it, quit being in a rush. So anyway, so that's it. So hey, let's check on buddies this week, with the change of the seasons, and let's just make sure everybody's doing okay. Like I always say on my podcast, we are our brothers and sisters keeper. And it just takes a second for a text. I was on Weezer Across America Radio on Thursday morning also. And so talking about this very thing. And so, got the Vietnam veterans out there, they're getting older. A lot of them don't have family. A lot of them don't have friends. And so if you're lucky enough to live by one of them, go knock on the door and be a neighbor and see how they're doing, and just ask how they're doing, if they're okay. It may be a little weird, but you know what? You might get a hell of a story. You sit there with some 10th Mountain bourbon and drink with him.
Right. Hey, Cliff, let me caveat off of that. Behoove all y'all to listen. All right. But no, if you don't watch Cliff's show, I know he switches the days a lot. Are we going live on Thursdays now, or is it back to
No, that was just a special because we was at kind of doing live, and I have to kind of fit in with the restaurant when they're not busy and whatever, and Chris's schedule, my schedule, blah blah blah.
Right. So check out Cliff's show live on our platforms. On all of them, do that for sure. I was fortunate enough to go to the Dodger game last night. So Game 1 World Series, first time ever a World Series ended in a walk-off grand slam ever. Right. Amazing. So like, that's just, it was phenomenal to be in that. However, I'm going to go back, and this is, talking about what Cliff says about buddy checks and Vietnam veterans, and specifically Vietnam veterans, because as we know, when we started this platform, our largest audience was Vietnam members.
Yeah, for sure.
Like veterans. Right. So it's like they're getting to an age now where they're starting to be the next ones to go. Right. Yeah. And don't make the same mistake that a lot of people did when they're like, oh, you know how great it is to talk to a World War II veteran?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it's like, it's phenomenal, but you don't think about it as a young person, especially in the service. You don't think about it as a young veteran, where it's like, man, reach out to them. Yeah. Reach out to them and share your stories with them, because they might just love it. And I bring that up because, I always tend to get a little bit emotional during Star Spangled Banner. And
Oh, yeah.
if you've never been to one at a major event like a Super Bowl or a World Series, like, I mean, they unrolled the flag, the jet flyover, and then they had a World War II veteran, 101 years old. They brought him out on the field.
Crazy.
Right? Navy veteran, friggin' CB did like 3 landings in the Pacific, you know, like just like, and he's high-fiving everybody, just full of life. Right? And it's like, normally my buddy Jeff and I, we boo the veteran of the game. Right, especially if they're like a pogue or, you know, like they, you know, like National Guard, like we like, you know, we start booing. Everybody's like, you don't boo him, he served our country, like he's a cook, right? Like in the National Guard, he didn't drop no bodies, you know. And then so we do that as a joke. But I mean, I stood up and I had, nobody could see it, but I had one roll down when that World War II veteran came out. Man, I had one roll down. I'm like, dude, this dude's a freaking hero, you know. So we got heroes amongst us that live amongst us. Do your buddy checks. Right. If you're a civilian watching, right, and there's somebody with a Vietnam veteran hat on, what do we say to them? We try to remind people, because I didn't know about this either. Say welcome home to them.
Yeah.
All right. You don't say thank you for your service, because nobody did.
No.
All right. Nobody did.
That can trigger some memories for sure. Yeah. And they love to hear from you, dude. Like I always make an effort. If I'm in Walmart or wherever at a gas station, I make an effort to say something.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
a lot of them are happy to talk about it. They are extremely happy to talk about it. It makes them feel good, and then, you know, it makes you feel good too. Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, spot on, Cliff.
You know, I was flying back from Iraq, and I was in a airport, and 2 Vietnam vets sat next to me. His 2 brothers, actually. And they were from Iowa, and they built commercial buildings. And they said, "Hey, welcome home," they said to me, and they bought me a beer. And I sat there and drank with them. And I said, "Hey, by the way, welcome home, and thank you for your service, because I joined because of what you guys did. I mean, this is why I'm in uniform, and what you guys went through. No American soldier ever should have went through that at all. Period. I don't care." And so I bought them both a beer too, and then we sat there for a couple of hours and visited and had a great conversation. But you know, for me, of course, I'm the oldest one here, is that, you know, when I was in, the only ones that had the war patch on their shoulder was the Vietnam veterans. And I'm telling you what, you sit in a helicopter in a Huey and fly with a Huey pilot that flew in Vietnam, that'll be the best ride of ever in your life. The things they had that helicopter doing. We had a guy in our unit, Captain Brand. He was an old guy. But man, you fly Napa the Air with this guy, holy shit. The way he flew that aircraft, it was just like it was his left and right hand. It was amazing.
Crazy.
Nice. Yeah. So
Yeah,
spot
I can
on,
only
buddy
imagine
check.
that'd be a crazy experience.
And buddy check doesn't just apply to veterans either. You know, like.
No, it just applies to your entire family, friends, everything.
Yeah.
It's
Because again,
super important.
We talked about how Hollywood changes the narrative.
Nick just calls me and yells at me every time he talks to me.
Yeah, I text you. I text you. I'm
just kidding. I'm kidding, obviously. Nick and I talk very often. We probably daily.
Well, you know, I haven't been doing my mental health breaks just because I've been so busy. And Nick, you know, texted me the other day and says, "Hey, are you okay? You doing all right?" You know, because that's unusual for me. So I'll get back on my own pattern. But hey, next Thursday, me and my brothers flying to Romania to take the Halloween tour of
Transylvania,
Dracula, and Transylvania.
Wow.
So we're going to go through the town. We're going to stay in one hotel that was built in the 16th century. We're going to visit the castle.
Damn.
We're going to spend about 4 days. So it's going to be one hell of a trip. So I'm super stoked about
You got to
that.
document a lot of that, Cliff. You got to document a lot of that, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think PJ's been drinking the whistle pig. Anybody understand what PJ's saying to me? I don't get that in the chat. Yeah, I'm happy for you to see that, Bloom. Happy for you to see that, Nick. I'm happy for you, S Game Nick. All right, put the whistle pig down,
This guy's
PJ.
going to be a doctor, bro. This guy's going to be
I know.
Jimmy's saying that because you went to World Series, I guess. Hey, didn't the Dodgers lose? I heard
the Dodgers did not win. I mean, they did not lose. They hit a walk-off grand slam. It was awesome.
It was epic.
Yeah, epic.
I didn't watch. I haven't watched any sports since I came to Italy other than soccer. So.
And then don't be hitting me up for any money, but somebody put some money on the Dodgers win by 2 or more. And so that walk-off grand slam made it win by 3. I'm just saying, I'm on a heater, baby. Let's go. Pay for the tickets.
You didn't cover that on the sports betting show, did you?
I did this morning for sure. And we actually, it was fun because the UFC is in Abu Dhabi right now. So it started at 7:00 in the morning, West Coast time. So when we started our show, UFC had already started. So we were calling fights live, and we hit the first 2 for our parlay. It was great. Like live on the show. It's like, this is why you bet with us. Like these guys know exactly what they're talking about. It was pretty cool to see that.
Anyhow, good conversation, good discussion. It's time to get to our guest, Johnny Perez.
Your boy.
Johnny Perez.
Oh, man.
He calls him my boy. Johnny and I just met about a month or 2 ago, and we're behind the scenes
We're at
with
the
the bar
bar?
with some stuff, which is really good. But we still haven't gotten together physically to have a beer and everything. But Johnny Perez, a Marine Corps veteran, he's got a combat tour to Afghanistan. Surprisingly for a Marine, he can read and write, so he's got his bachelor's degree in business management. All right. He also dabbles in financial advice, so he's a financial advisor, and he is the CEO of Veterans Resource Advocates. Okay, Johnny, welcome to the Trash Talk Hour. Tell us what your favorite crayon color is, and talk about your military service and what you got going on, brother.
Oh man, that. Well, first of all, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. I've been fired up about this, and David, obviously, when we first met, I actually met David when he was sick. He had COVID or who knows what else. Yeah, you and your wife were out for the count, but the fact that you were still able to get on the call, and it was awesome, man. So I appreciate our relationship up to this point.
Absolutely.
Listen, like I was telling you guys earlier, out here in Arizona, they have a Crayola experience. So literally out on the east side of town here. Well, I live in Surprise, Arizona, so east side of town.
Surprise.
Yeah, out in Chandler. I'm going there for my daughter, my youngest daughter, but I get there, I'm like, holy smokes, this is for me all day. So as far as favorite one, the red one is the most delicious one. You know what I mean? So, or like the Italians say, the red one, I guess, right?
The red one.
Let me know if that was right, Cliff. But yeah, I did 4 years in the Corps. I joined. I was in Victorville, California. Well, here's a funny story about how I joined. Actually, I actually attempted to go to the Air Force at first. My stepdad was an Air Force recruiter, and I had one of my oldest daughters, very young. I had her when I was 17 years old. So I wanted to do something different, give her a good life, because obviously the path that I was going down wasn't a good one. Long story short, I called my stepdad. I said, hey, I know you're an Air Force recruiter. I'm thinking about joining the Air Force. He said, come on down, take the ASVAB. I walk in there as confident as I could be, take the test, come back out, and I'm waiting out there, for the results. And he comes up to me, my stepdad's Colombian, but he goes, he walks out, he says, mijo, you got to study. I'm like, oh my God. Obviously I didn't do that good. And then my wife, yeah. And then my wife's cousin calls me, finds out that I'm joining. I say, hey, apparently I didn't do that good on the ASVAB. And he's a Marine recruiter at the time. He's like, dude, we don't even care about that. Just come on.
Don't worry about that shit. Can you spell your name? Can you spell your name at least 60% accurate?
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, I get down.
Did you get a 5? Did you at least get a 5?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember what my AFQT was total, whatever, but I know it wasn't very good. Long story short, I showed up to the Marine recruiting office, and obviously they welcomed me in. I felt really good. I'll tell you what, fun fact, one of the main reasons why I wanted to join the Marines is, you guys remember the commercial where the Marine climbs a cliff and then fights the dragon with his sword?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when I think I was like 9 years old when I saw that. I'm like, that's what I want to do. So anyways, I ended up joining. I was a low altitude air defense gunner or Stinger gunner, and our job wasn't really relevant like most jobs besides, infantry and things like that. But I did a plug out into Afghanistan. We did about 8 months, and we weren't prepared for where we were at and what we were doing. Our unit is so small. We only get 2 battalions, 3rd Lad Battalion and 2nd Lad Battalion, North Carolina and California. And we get attached to an infantry unit out there in Afghanistan. But long story short, it was a good time, man. Good time. And come home, and kind of doing my job to job kind of deal, trying to figure out life. And it was hard, man, because, I mean, like most of you, I'm assuming when you transition out, especially I know the Marine Corps, when they find out, at least my unit, when they found out I was leaving, they were like, all right, well, just keep it to yourself and, good luck. Hopefully everything works out. There wasn't a whole lot of camaraderie and support on the way out. But when I got out, I kind of found myself going from job to job to job, man. I was just trying to find value, trying to find purpose. And I ended up getting into the financial space, did that for almost a decade now. And here's how I founded the Veteran Resource Advocate company, my company with the VA disability. I've always helped veterans with their VA disability. I always try to help them, encourage them. Hey, this is what you got to say. This is what you got to do. This is the process, so on and so forth. And I was talking to my brother-in-law. So my brother-in-law, his name's Mario. He was a Marine Corps reservist. He was with tanks, and I always give him a shit because, he was in the reserves. but he did 2 tours to Iraq, and he was there during the invasion of Fallujah. So needless to say, this guy's a salt dog. And but it doesn't matter how many deployments he did, he's still a reservist, right? And I'm talking to him, having a conversation, and he says, "You know what, bro?" He's like, "I know you do finance, but you're really passionate about this VA disability. You should figure out how to do that." And I love, I was always about it, and I was like, you know what, man, if I knew how to really kind of like figure out and get a system and a process together, I absolutely would. And he's like, well, just try to figure it out, man, because I think this is your lane. And this happened last October. So a year ago, he had this conversation with me. I hang up the phone. About 2 minutes later, an idea pops in my brain. And I have a good friend of mine. She's an attorney out in Alabama. I had this idea, and I present it to her. And she's like, I love this idea. Let's go for it. And literally from last October till about July, there was a lot of, legalities that we had to get through, and the law firm that I partner with are VA accredited, which is huge. So the development stage it took a long time, but now that we're here, we did a soft launch like July 15th, 16th. We only opened it up to a few people within our organization to start offering the service. Long story short, we've already submitted 70 plus veterans. We should have 100 veterans before the end of the month. So it's been quite an experience, quite a journey. And I can't tell you how many people that have reached out to me that I haven't spoken to in years, telling me, my goodness, dude, this is so great. Because we've all experienced it, I'm sure, at one point or another, how terrible the system is. And they make it almost freaking impossible for us to get the resources and compensation that we deserve. And we're not asking for much, man. We're not asking for much. So I got
they don't give you that much. Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like literally I got a text message from one of my agents, and she's like she's a referral partner with VRA, and she gives me the story. Her grandfather, I forget what war he served in, but he's an old timer. He passed away in June, and they were trying to get his military service and military burial like together. And apparently they have 180 days from the time they submit the letter to get it processed and to get it moving. She got on the phone. She texted me this 3 days ago. She had gotten off the phone with them 3 days ago, and apparently the lady forgot to submit the paperwork. So now they have to wait another 180 days to give her grandfather the burial that he deserves. So here's the main purpose and reason why.
Somebody we could. Wow.
Yeah. We got to figure something out, because and this is what I'm talking about, man. Like everything gets pushed to the side. And I've come to find out very, very early, very quickly, like if you want something done, sometimes you just got to get out there and fucking do it yourself. You just got to go get it. And more importantly, like platforms like this, where we can communicate it and talk about it, but more importantly, move in the direction that we need to move in to get to where we need to get to. That's what it's all about. Support, community. Like and here's what's crazy too. This what blows my mind too. Obviously, veterans are going to be veterans, right? But even when I started it, there's some people that weren't happy. Like, oh, why are you doing that? We can do it. We can do it this way. I'm like, dude, then do it that way. Like, I'm not saying you can't do it that way. All I'm saying is we need to create another resource that can get things done in a timely and orderly and efficient factor and way, so that you can get the results that you deserve. So anyways, yeah, my company helps with VA disability, getting increased. If you're at 90% or less, we can help. The law firm that I have a partnership with, they're the top 10 in the nation. They have a 93% success rate. And more importantly, they're just really, really, really good people. Really good people. So I'm excited.
They are. And I can briefly add to that.
Please,
I went through Wounded Warrior Project initially, and then I got my disability rating, and then I got the number for you from one of the real estate agents that works on our team, because you helped, I think, her husband out or whatever it was, and contacted you and submitted my stuff. And so far, I've been extremely excited about what they're doing. They sent me the first letter that they're submitting. Just great program. A lot of people look at those programs are like, oh, it's a scam, or they're going to tell you to go up there and lie. No, they analyzed my stuff and said, based on these documents that he already submitted legitimately, he should have a higher rating. Like this wording right here states exactly what he said. This should be a rating of this. So very happy with what they're doing so far. Obviously, I'll tell you in a couple months, right? I'll be like, that guy, Johnny, man. Now my rating's at 50%. It went from 90 to 50. Like, what the hell's going on, man?
Even with that too, I mean, you guys have heard about the whole $15 billion being lost at the VA, right?
Yes. Yeah, but you could talk about that for the viewers a little bit.
Think about this for a second too, because even during that time, like my brain started moving. I'm like, man, was this the right time to start this, especially with all that happening? And then I quickly switched my brain. I was like, well, this is the perfect time because now we've got experts who have been in this space, who understand the law, and they get that. So now we can really take care of the veterans that we need to. Because think about it. The mindset is, okay, man, we can't count for $15 billion, or whatever the amount is, and then let's take it from the veterans. Let's take it from their disability. Let's recover. That's ridiculous. It's and people are getting money, receiving money. And listen, don't get me wrong. If you need it from the government, you need it. Like, hey, get on your feet, do what you got to do. But you're talking about people who have served and who signed the dotted line, just like we all have. Like, and we're out there and we're putting our life on the line. We are property of the government until we're done with our service and our term. So I just got so fed up with how people were getting treated. I'm like, man, we need a team of people to support and make the move. And here's what my hopes are, right? My hopes is even when the veteran receives, let's just say they go from 10 to 50 or 50 to 90, 90 to 100. We're not trying to create veterans to just kind of kick back and, and if that's your choice, that's your choice. Enjoy your life, do what you got to do. But what that does, even from a financial standpoint, especially with the economy doing what it's doing, this is going to allow you to go out there and chase your dreams and do the things that you want to do and start that entrepreneurship that you want to start and build that business. Because I truly believe not every veteran, but most veterans, that we shouldn't be in the 9-to-5 grind, because the 9-to-5 grind is kind of we're outside thinkers. We do things different, and some people are very good at it. And again, I just want to give everybody options and the freedom and the choice to do what they want, because they fought so hard for it. They should understand it and experience it and do the things they want to do when they want to.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah, that's a really good. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
We our guest last week talked about that.
We touched on that.
He coaches, veteranpreneurs, right? Like, and why you should be your own boss and why you have the skills to do so. I got a couple of continuation questions for you for this conversation. You said you got about 70, hoping to about 100 veterans you've helped out with your soft launch. Is it mostly GWAT, or is it, do you have some Vietnam veterans in there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, one of our oldest veterans in there, I think he's 91, 92. So we can service all.
Yeah, Korean War or Vietnam. I mean, Korean War. Or,
I think it was the Korean War. Yeah. It was my brother's girlfriend's grandfather. That we're in the process of helping him out. But yeah, I think he's 91, 92. And I don't think he gets anything, nothing. And he's paying for assisted living. He's paying $6,000 a month for assisted. This is what I'm talking about, right? And we need to bridge the gap of what's available and what's real, and we need to make it happen. We need to connect the dots there, and we have to do it.
And
Johnny, can you, real quick? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just the two-part to it is with that is, when veterans come to you again, and this is something to everybody watching and listening later, is if you don't go ask, if you don't go find out, then you're probably missing out on something that you don't. It's not that you're entitled to it; you deserve it, right? Like it's there for you because of what you've done. What do you find most that is the veterans' fault? That when they come and they might not know, but what have they not done that is probably hurting most of the people that you've seen? Like something that they have to go do to make it happen?
In my opinion, the number one reason why they stop pursuing, and I think this ties into what Cliff was saying with the mindset, right? Because if we're told no, or we get shut down, that's it, end all be all, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with the military experience. Like, you don't question us, what we say goes. So the number one downfall that I see most veterans go is if they go and ask somebody, or if they go and start the process. The VA is notorious for denying your claims initially. They are notorious for denying pretty much the majority of what you file for. So I see most veterans stop after the first one.
Yeah. My brother did that.
Exactly. Literally.
He came back. My brother had severe PTSD issues, and I convinced him to do it. He did 20 years. They came back and said, "Nah, you're good." And they gave me 0%. And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And his wife was dying of cancer, and she's already passed. And now he's trying to go back and fight him, and he's not in a good way. But that's the problem. They say no, and he just quit. And
even too, I mean, you're battling you're battling, Nick, when you talked about, obviously the failure on the veteran side, but you're battling all the
Not necessarily failure, but either ignorance and just
or they stop, right? They just quit, if you will. But it's that tying with their own mindset of whether or not they actually believe that they deserve it.
Yeah.
Like I've seen so many. It doesn't matter. Soldiers, Marines, sailors. It doesn't matter. Even Coast Guardians. I mean, these guys, the coasties out there, like they're like, oh well, that's not for me. Well, how do you know? If it says it in your file, medically, it's there. You're entitled. It's yours. You deserve it. You earned it.
Or it's a pride thing, right? It's a pride thing. Like I don't have any issues.
So I'm about to go see somebody close to me that said he didn't file for disability when he got out because of like that. He goes, nothing really bad happened to me that you know of yet. It's in your record. And so when your knee starts hurting 5 years later, and now you got to start this process all over again.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like they're not going to give you a bunch for your knee hurting, but at least it's in the works. It's in the paperwork.
Right.
Yeah.
But then turn around and complain that they don't take care of us when we get out, right? When there are things
that person doesn't do that, but it's like you need to put in your claims, homie. Like that's like
Well, I think too, let's face it, a lot of people when you say disability, they think of being in a wheelchair, they think of losing limbs, they think of it. They don't understand that being disabled in the VA is different. And I had this conversation with my brother before I got into to fine, because he's like, look, I'm fine. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah, he wasn't fine. He had PTSD, but I'm saying that you have to get past that point and know that it is right. It is something you're entitled to. And anybody, I don't care if you served 2 weeks or 34 years like I did. It affected you in some way, shape, or form. And that the government, they know what they're going to pay, and that money's already been allocated the second you sign that line. And I think also it helps if we can just change the way people think about VA disability. And not thinking it's just like Social Security disability. It's
right.
Yeah, Johnny, can you great points and everything. Can you hit on so a veteran's going through the process and now he wants to initiate it again with you guys? Can you talk maybe through his steps real quick? I mean, obviously I know what it looks like because I'm working with you guys right now, but for anybody that's watching.
Absolutely. And the process, because one of the most, and I want to be very clear too, this is something really important. My organization absolutely 100% advocates for doing it for free. Utilize the free resources. They're there for a reason. I created Veteran Resource Advocates because I wanted to get, again, an efficient and effective system to get it done without the veterans having to do a lot. Because we're busy, we're dealing with a lot of crap, having to fight the VA, that's a whole other battle that's going to consume the majority of your life. But the system and the process is very, very, it's very efficient and almost automated, if you will. But you come to our website, you go to intake, you click the intake form, there's a big message that shows a link to utilize the free resources because they're there. We believe in them. And then through that, you complete all the information, you submit your intake. And usually within, I would say the time frame, 1 to 3 days, our partners from the law firm end up reaching out. Sometimes they reach out the same day. They've been pretty adamant about reaching out same day after you submit the intake. As long as you input all your information, even if you don't have all the information and the info that they'll need, they'll tell you, hey, you're going to need to call this number, have them fax all your information over to us, and then from there we'll decide. And what's great is when they do the interview, obviously, Dave, you already experienced that. They'll do the interview, ask you questions. A lot of the things that veterans miss is like a lot of the secondary claims, the supplemental claims that, hey, you have a disability that led to this, that led to this. So there's a lot of that the veterans miss. So they'll go through the interview, they take it to their team, and they say, hey, do we want to take this case? If we take this case, you can have confidence in knowing that, they have a 93% success rate. But once they take the case, at that point, you just kind of follow the lead. Hey, we're going to send you some paperwork, sign the dotted lines, get the information back over to us, set you up with the C&P exams, do the exams. If a veteran does everything that they're supposed to, as soon as they get the paperwork, they send it off, the time frame, believe it or not, can range anywhere between 4 to 6 months, which is super quick. What I have seen is a lot of veterans procrastinate. It is what it is, and sometimes it takes 8 months, 9 months, sometimes longer. But if you do what you're told to do and you get the information moving and running and submitted, then you should see results on average in about 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, I started with you guys about 2 months ago or a month and a half, and I got my first medical appointments next month already.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, it's
Fantastic.
moving quick.
Yeah, they're
Sure.
quick.
Hey, real quick, Dave, you see that order come in from Colby Anderson from Abilene, Texas? That dude just dropped 400 bills at our store, homie. All right, hey, Colby, I appreciate you, brother.
Damn,
And
Colby.
so do all our moderators and everybody that we try to pay money that we can that are helping us out. We don't make a lot of money on our shirts because we're ship printing them. So really appreciate you with that order. He went nuts, bro.
We gotta send you a button too.
Yeah, we'll
get
send
you
him
the
a
Trash
Talk button.
Hey, can we get that button in Italian?
Yeah.
Hey, Face Man, you can translate for it.
Yeah, then we'll really know.
If you get some shirts in Italian, man, I could share. I could sell them out here.
Yeah. Hey, so Johnny, so we covered. I think about a story like in El Paso where someone who's been very successful in his life was a Vietnam veteran. He's been on the show. I think he was the CMO of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Worked for like 2 presidents' administrations. African American male out of Vietnam who just when he got wounded, he came back and he sold his uniforms and got out as fast as he could. Like, see you later, right? And he was an artilleryman and had been blown up and had some shrapnel in him and that kind of stuff. And he comes up to me one day, and again, he's very, very well off. He comes up to me and he's like, "Wait, you mean I can get disability too?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Bro, you got a Purple Heart, man. Like, you should be getting CRSC pay automatically."
Right.
Hell yeah.
Like, why didn't you file for this? And he was like, "Nobody ever told me that." Now, here's my point is we don't have that excuse anymore. All right. There's over 77,000 veteran nonprofits. And a lot of them, like you said, you want to steer them towards, getting it done, for free. However, here's where the entitled veteran comes in that drives me insane. That's why we started the Shirt Triggered Pansy. Like, why would I pay you to do that for me? Then go do it yourself.
Exactly.
Like you said earlier. Then go do it yourself. All right. When I'm doing well and I'm in a golf tournament and there's, a college kid there that's kind of hanging around, he's hanging around there because he wants somebody to be, hey, I'll pay you $100 a caddy for me today. Right. Because I can read my own putts, but if I got the money, that kid's going to go read putts for me. Like, I don't got to worry about it. So, like, yeah. If again, and then like Dave Faceman said it, like that pride issue, like, hey, if you want to just pay the extra money to have somebody else do it for you, then
right,
professionals do it for
you.
And the way Johnny does it, and you're probably going to hit on that anyway, is like if there's no results, there's no pay. The way you guys kind of do it, So you're. I mean, I don't know how much you want to go into the financial aspect of it and what it costs. I think it's a great program. I mean, it's
and so
you guys keep me at 90. I'm not paying, so you're paying for results. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's great.
And
because there's a lot of groups out there. There's a lot of groups out there where you pay up front and things of that nature, or then they take like a monthly check, like from your disability for like it's crazy. There's like so many out there that literally rip you off.
This is the shirt we made for you. This is the shirt we made for you veterans out there that like to start every sentence out with "as a veteran." Right? like you don't speak for me.
What I struggle with when I were in Italy is explaining to Italians what it means, and after I explain it to them, they love it. They get a kick out of it.
Yeah, and
anyway, Johnny, if you want to hit on that a little bit,
I can.
Because that's a very important piece.
Absolutely, and again, I'm a big believer in it in the sense of imagine tying somebody's actual livelihood to whether or not you get the results. If you get the results, they can continue to live. If they don't get you the results, they got to do a better job, right? And we live in a society, in my opinion, where we kind of glorify that victim mentality. That's why I love that shirt because we are glorifying the people that aren't really doing nothing, right? I think things went wrong when they issued the participation awards. Like, what the hell is that? Come on, like you should have the ability and want even.
You should learn what it's like to lose and somebody else win early in life.
Absolutely. Even
so, it was good luck. Like, a couple of seeing eye ground balls for base hits, and you lost the championship when you were 10. Well, guess what? They get a trophy because they put the ball in play and it went through the hole, and you guys didn't field it.
100%.
Better player than it, but they won.
100%. And what's crazy? So my oldest daughter, she plays basketball, and there was this club. It was a club tournament game, and she had an absolute terrible last few minutes, and And the coach let her know that. And man, like she's real not emotional, but that day she was emotional. And I looked at her in her eyes and I said, do you feel that? Do you feel how shitty that feels? Now you know how shitty it feels, so you can prevent that from happening. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. So go out there and be better and do better, and you'll get better results. So again, very simple on our end. It's really quick. So this is what I think is really awesome too with our organization. If you've never filed for the first time, like if this is your first time filing, our partners, actually there's no cost because they're VA accredited. So there's specific ways that they have, the guidelines that they have to follow. So they, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. So there's no initial cost on that initial filing. Well, they recover. It's 20% on the back end for the veterans on the claims that may have been denied and things that they need to go and resubmit. But again, this is not to negate the fact that there are other organizations that do it. I just know, like, with free sometimes comes a dick in the ass a little bit. Like, let's be real, or you'll get that customer service, or maybe
in a metaphorical sense for those that don't know what that's like.
Yes. Yes.
So hey, I was gonna say something. I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought, but I met a guy in the restaurant at Kina the other day, and he works for Navy Federal, and he was a Marine. Knows my story. Heard about.
He is a Marine, Cliff.
Was a Marine? Jesus
was
Christ,
a Marine, Cliff. Come on,
what are you doing, bro?
Even if
listen, the Marine Corps birthday is coming up too.
Hey, who's that?
Yeah, it is. Even if he specialized in a weapon system like a Stinger,
anyway,
still a Marine.
He had a private conversation. He always comes in and eats by himself. He always eats the same thing. He switched now since I'm cooking steaks, but he's never filed. And he was asking me, he says, look, I haven't been in the States in a long time. I've been in foreign countries. I don't really claim the state as my own. What BSO can I find to file? He says, I'm having issues. And I just had this conversation 2 days ago. And I said, well, let me ask around. Universe works in strange ways, right? And now we're having this conversation. Nick asked me to be a co-host. So I need to make sure I get you information so I can pass it on to him for sure. Him being a Marine, but he's just trying to figure it out, and he's never done it. He never filed.
Gotcha. And he's overseas with you right now? Yeah,
he works. He's the president of the Navy Federal here on support side in Naples, Italy.
Okay, gotcha. And I'm sure there are people definitely can help, but I know with the law firm that I partner with, I don't believe, because we had that same occurrence happen when there was a veteran that was living in Brazil. And I don't know, because of like the medical appointments and things like that, I think they had to be in the States, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I'll definitely get some information.
Well, I know people do, when they're retiring here, they do all the appointments here with the Italians.
Gotcha. Okay. That'll be a good.
Military members do that. Now, I don't know anybody outside of the military if they do that or not. But at least, if anything, it will give him somebody that he can at least talk to, and at least, give you more information than
Absolutely.
I could add.
Absolutely.
While at the kitchen, at working at a restaurant. So.
No, I love it. Yeah. We can connect, get him again, at least get him to speak with some experts and figure out what route and course of action he can take. I'd absolutely love to connect with them as well too. So that'll be huge.
All right. So Johnny, how do people find you?
Yeah. So the easiest way to do it, and I'll talk to Dave as well too, as far as the partnership in this sense, but veteranresourceadvocates.com. It's a simple way to do it. You can follow our Instagram as well too. It's veteran_resource_advocates. I'm probably going to change it a little bit shorter, because I'll be honest with you, spelling resource and advocates for us Marines can be difficult. That's probably why we haven't gotten a lot of Marines. You know what I mean? Because they can't spell it in the URL on the website.
That's a long one to spell. Just like
Veteran Trash Talk. Most definitely. But click on the website and then explore our website and get a good feel, because again, we want you to feel good about what we're doing and feel good about the process. Then hit that intake form, submit the information. What I'm going to highly recommend is, even if you're not sure, complete the intake anyways. Speak to our team, see if there's even a possibility that it can be done, and they'll tell you yay or nay. You're good to go, you're not good to go, and at least at that point and then just let them do the work. Let them guide you and help you.
Is that right on the screen?
Veteran Resource Advocate. That's it. That's perfect.
Perfect. I typed that right now. No big deal.
That's it for sure.
And I just want to give a shout out to Corey Lane from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. Oh, yeah, or hey, don't you know?
How you doing up there in the Canuck land? You got your hockey stick? What you doing? Hey, glad to have you on there. Hope you're a Canadian parachutist at least. Airborne guy. But, no, hey, Johnny, it was a pleasure having you on, and we'd love to dig into this more and see how else we can, and help you out. And then if you have any information
Support each other, yeah.
anything you want to put out, just let us know. We'll throw it on our platform. But I'll turn it over to AAR real quick. Turns out that there is an actual arachnid zone. All right, and it's in Antarctica. Right. So again, Hollywood tries to desensitize it to us that, Johnny Rico and Rico's Roughnecks are out there killing them on Clendathu, but they're actually in Antarctica. So if you want to go fight the bug zones, all right, you just go down to Antarctica. And then awesome having Cliff on the show. Go follow his podcast. Check out his Mental Health Warrior. He got a book.
It's usually going to be on Mondays. Chris has had, schedule issues. And if I go live, obviously that's going to change the date. But yeah, be sure and check out my podcast and my mental health breaks, because you just, every now and then everybody needs a little pickup, right? So.
And there's a lot of people scanning this Trigger Pansy QR code. So I'm going to put that back up there just for fun. That's sick. That's 6 right there. That's the most we ever had. Yeah. Or they're scanning the other QR codes on the bottom. You got Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage. All right. That's our good buddy, Corey. He'll give you free advice on any loan. All right, and I trust him. I knew him as a young lieutenant. I groomed him. All right, so if he doesn't do anything right for you, let me know. I'll go slap him. All right, and he lives in Hawaii. So if you PCS to Paradise, like that, scan that one as well, and he'll help you with all the Hawaii stuff. But yeah, Cliff gave a great, his mental health news right there is like, never be afraid to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
All right, it's never too late. Yeah. All right, it's never, and then also the buddy check, 100% do that, right? And we always say this, Buddy and I always hit on it. Buddy's not here; it's his mom's birthday. But if you're not religious, then you're afraid of something. All right, if you don't believe in something, then you're afraid of something, which is fine because that fear is going to drive you to do what's right or what's wrong, right? So there's something that you believe in. Now, I'm a spiritual person, so when somebody's name pops up in my head. And it could be from, 20 years ago. All right. There's a reason I believe that universe is connected and that name popped in my head. All right. Call that person. Reach out to them. How you doing? All right. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Don't know why I was, but I was. Right. So check on your battle buddies. Make sure they're doing all right. And again, you see a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, say welcome home and reach out to them and talk to them. They're in your neighborhoods. You just don't know it. All right. Go find them. And then, we had our guest Johnny on, all right, with Veteran Resource Advocate. How did I say that wrong? A Veteran Resource Advocate?
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Advocates.
VeteranResourceAdvocate.com. All right, go there and make, again, what does it hurt to have an expert look at your stuff, right? It might help you out. And that QR code's there, Triggered Pansy, got all that. But Johnny was a Stinger missile specialist in the Marines. And somehow they got his ass to Afghanistan. So, did they actually take Stinger missiles with it? Did you take them with you? In case they were throwing goats at you or something.
Listen,
what do they do? They slingshot a goat and you just shoot them down with a stinger.
Apparently, you got the Kandahar giant, Nick. They were shooting giants, bro.
When we left, when they did that terrible pullout of Afghanistan, I mean, now look who's got all our stuff.
Yeah. Well, you didn't take the stingers home with you?
Well, that was all the senior NCOs. Hopefully they got it all. They took it all. I don't know, man.
I mean, we kept helicopters there. We probably kept stingers there too, man.
I'm sure you did.
Might as well give them everything that we got. Yeah.
Oh, is that the stinger missiles that they snuck back across the Mexican border that we've been hearing about lately?
Oh yeah, with Hezbollah.
From Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And listen, it's a. So I actually have a launch tube. We get to keep our launch tubes once we shoot it. So for the 4th of July, we were launching fireworks out of that thing. It was fantastic. Oh, man.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm sure one of the neighbors were like, man, these guys are shooting a missile. Like, it's ridiculous.
These guys are shooting mortars or missiles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. All right, well, Johnny, give us the last word before Dave closes us out.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, again, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's such an honor to be here. And, even from the mental health side, I'm an advocate and a true believer of getting better every single day, 1% better every single day. That's all you need. We don't have to take giant leaps. Small steps moving forward equal big steps over time. And I think what I'll say is to all the veterans out there, remember, especially for those that are trying to get better, remember there are years where nothing happens, and then there are days where decades happen. So let's keep the mission in front, and let's keep doing the best that we can in any way, shape, and form possible. So again, gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Hey, great show. Phenomenal Saturday. For everybody that tuned in late, go to VeteranTrashTalk.com. That is our website. It's got the links to YouTube where you can follow us, give us a like, subscribe. We are shadow banned on YouTube, so it'd be great for everybody that's watching to go over there right now, push us through that algorithm. Maybe we can get the word out a little bit more. Go to shop.veterantrashtalk.com. I am wearing a significant shirt today. It says "Fuck Hamas." All right, Israel just attacked Iran yesterday, so got a lot of shit going on in the Middle East.
In an act of self-defense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a lot going
That's
on
what
in
the
the Middle
State
East.
Department said.
So
But
fuck
again,
terrorism.
that shirt is a great shirt to wear in an airport as well too. Like you wear that one, you get all kinds of people coming talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
At first, they think you support them, and they're like, "What does that shirt say?"
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
It's one of our best sellers. So obviously, a lot of people do not support terrorism, which we don't either. So we're not going to get into all
And
of
it's
that.
on sale right now.
It's on sale as well. Yeah, look at that, $22.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for tuning in, and check you guys out next Saturday. Johnny, stay on after this for the outro, and we'll talk real quick.
Perfect.
Boom.